In this video, we're going to play a tribute to one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, Mascaras, or incorrectly pronounced by the Americans, Mascaras. Either way, we're going to run through his magazines through the 60s, mostly through the 70s, and parts of the 80s. This is Meal's first Japanese cover. He was ridiculously over in Japan. Absolutely went crazy for him. His first issue was on Gong, separate volume, special edition, November 1969. First issue, 1970. Notice the cool masks he wore early on. They were all different, some great designs. Some of these magazines from Japan are absolutely incredible. The way they capture all the great colors and styles of Meal through the years. This magazine covers his first tour of Japan in 1971. Always like this cover. It's got a split mask, a mill down the center. Just thought it was really cool. The average Japanese issue of Gong and Gong separate volume runs between $50, $75, $100. Very, very expensive. This is an issue of boxing, wrestling combination in 1973 or the end of 72. It ended to strictly just wrestling, and it's still in publication today. It's the oldest one in Japan. Weekly Pro. Another really cool cover, early 1972. These magazines really can cost you if you're a strict collector of the Japanese issues. They are, like I said, extremely expensive. Oh, this one here. Here's Meal and the Destroyer. They had some fantastic battles in Japan in the early 70s for the title. It's another great magazine cover. And once again with the Destroyer. It's a rare shot of Meal with the suit on. Really cool looking tie. I like that tie. I love this cover. It's just such a cool looking design. Just plain simple and just really gets it. Beat it, bud. Jimi Hendrix is coming through. Say hi. Cool shot of Meal with the purple mask. Meal and Bruno, two superstars of the early 70s. Another cover that I like. It's just plain and simple. It's just a real close-up shot of the mask. Thought it was a great cover. Meal with his brother Dos. That is his brother. A few magazine covers when them two team up in the 80s. Later on, here's Meal with the IWA world title. Always thought that was a great looking belt. I believe this is the only Japanese issue with him with that belt, which is a shame. These issues here, and you'll notice it says Invitation to Ring. It covered boxing, wrestling, and kicking, or which stood for karate or kickboxing. So this covered three different things. There's a difference between this issue of Gong. This issue this says separate volume. So it's Gong separate volume and Gong Invitation to Ring, or just Gong, or Gong Boxing, Karate, Martial Arts. Again, another simple plain cover. Always just like this close-up shots of him with the mask on. I always thought it was cool. Another battle with the Destroyer, which started back up in 77 and 78. And Meal would actually win that title from the Destroyer. Meal with the Mexican world title and Harley Race. They had some pretty cool battles in, I believe it was 1980. This is a great tribute magazine to Meal. A lot of coverage of him in here, a lot of great color shots in here, color pinup pullouts, and it comes with a 24 by 36 folded poster in here as well, if you can find an issue that still has that with it. Pretty cool headdress. There's another magazine coming up later on with his headdress that's really cool. We're still in 1977. Meal with the Mexican title with superstar Billy Graham, and they would have a few battles in the garden before Bob Backlund would take the title. Meal with his brother again, and we're just going to slide over a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. And this one has got, let's see if I can fix that for you. Meal with Superstar in the garden. This is a one that also has the 24 by 36 fold-out poster, and that's got Superstar Graham holding the WWF belt, which is a great poster. If you find this issue, make sure the poster's with it. The poster itself could run you $100 to $125 just for the poster. Neil and Harley. Great cover, 1978. Backlund in the cage with Superstar, Meal on the side. Meal and Dragon Fujinami, what a career he would have later on. Meal had a couple of great battles with Abdul the Butcher. A couple of bloody battles. Good match, might be able to find it on YouTube. Meal and Ricky Steamboat. They had, I think, 3 matches and 4 tag teams. 3 or 4 tag teams. When he faced Steamboat in a tag team. Here's a match, those two together. Four brothers, right? Meal and Connect. Connect was awesome. Mexican wrestler, superstar who beat Andre the Giant. A lot of people don't know that. Also slammed Andre the Giant. And I think we're moving up to we're 1980 right now. Here's a repeat. This is an autographed photo of Gino Hernandez in here. That's why I bought the magazine twice. Meal and Tiger Mask, which I don't believe Meal ever had a match with Tiger Mask 1. I think he had a match with Tiger Mask 2. I'm not 100% sure on that. This is a very rare, I don't know if it's rare, it's extremely expensive. Therefore, a lot of people didn't buy it. It could sell anywhere from $275 to $350 on eBay. It's a fantastic book that came out in 1973 in Japan, and it's a pictorial of his several tours early on and the beginning of his wrestling career in Mexico, and when he first started, and his first couple of training teachers and partners that he had when he started in a tag team. Excellent. If you're a Meal Mascaras fan, you're gonna have to pay up for it. It's well worth it. I've never seen anything like it. It was so popular, they came out with part 2. Part 2, I absolutely love. It also shows every cover he was ever on in a cover of Gong, that is, in here, which is about 30 or so issues. Great magazine for part 2. There is a part 3. It's not as great. I have it framed on the other side. I don't have it in this pile. This actually shouldn't be in here. This is just a lineup sheet for the IWA when it took place in Miami at the Marine Stadium. That was a cool little stadium. If you've never seen it, try to Google that or look it up. It was a over-the-water stadium. So they had a match. They had the ring out in the water, and the fans were in the bleachers off to the side, in front and off to the side, surrounded by water. It was pretty wild. 3 Masked Men from Japan. Photo album covering Mil Dos and Tiger Mask. This is a Mexican issue. Thought it was just a great cover, great body, great tan, great mask. Just so cool. Another early Mexican issue. And that's not Meal. That shouldn't be in there. And neither should this, Dr. Wagner. Just another cool looking cover, though. I mean, that is really a great shot. And another Mexican issue. 1,000 masks. This is Meal's first match in Madison Square Garden. It is also the first masked wrestler allowed to wrestle in Madison Square Garden. And I've got that autographed by Meal. He is wrestling a spoiler. The spoiler came to the WWF area in 72 and 3, and he had to take the mask off because he wanted to compete and face Morales for the title. So he wasn't allowed to have the mask. And they made the exception and lifted the ban. And this is Mill's first match in the Garden. I believe it was in December. Here's the program for that event. Yes, December 18th, 1972. That magazine was April 1973. And here is the program of that match of Meal versus Spoiler. Meal versus Tajiri, Mexican issue of Luchas. This is signed by Terry Funk and Meal, March of 72. Wrestling Review. Meal wins the America's title. It's an old school shot of the WWA America's title down in Southern California. This is autographed by both Bruno and Meal. Always thought that was a great cover. This is the very first PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Very sought after issue. And cool picture. It was taken behind the curtain of the Westchester County Center in White Plains, New York. What a great place to see wrestling years ago. Great story behind that is in Bill Apter's book. If you don't have Bill Apter's book, it is a great book. And let me just recommend the audio version because you hear it in Bill's own voice. It's like you and him just sitting there telling stories. It was a great book. This is a replica of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated that came out to subscription holders, I believe, in the mail. And they just, redid it for an anniversary issue. And this was also signed by Meal. Not as nice as the original. It's the paper's off and the colors are off and some things are different. It's not exactly the same. It's close. So you can definitely tell the difference. Clear shot of Meal with the IWA title. It's also signed by Jimmy Valiant. Always liked this shot. This was also autographed by Terry Funk at the bottom, Ivan Putski. And just what would be a perfect PWI centerfold pull-out picture poster. Similar to the wrestler we just looked at, but a little more closer up, but not as glossy or shiny, but nevertheless a great cover of Meal. This is also signed by Bruno in the corner. Always loved this issue as well. Such a great close-up. See his muscles in the mask and the tan, and just looks like a Greek god, Mexican god. This is signed by, autographed by Ivan Koloff, Bob Backlund. It's a little bit dark, you can't see it all, and Mill. And this took place in one of their IWA battles. Another great close-up. What an awesome looking mask. This is also autographed by Superstar and Bruno. Another great looking magazine. Another great looking magazine. What can I say? And to finish it off, Meal with the Mexican title on the cover of PWI. And there it is. My own little tribute in magazines and the media of one of my very favorite wrestlers of all time. Okay, see you in the next video.